Good morning everyone, selamat pagi semuanya. Terima kasih ya yang udah datang di IF Talks. Terima kasih juga tadi sudah menunggu di waiting room. Dan hari ini kita ketemu lagi hari Sabtu pagi jam 10 bareng sama IF Talks dari IF Jawa Timur, Bali, dan Lombok. Halo semuanya, terima kasih yang udah pernah join di sini. Kita ketemu lagi sama Vicky dan hari ini kita akan bahas topik soal TOEFL reading section. Jadi untuk kalian yang memang dari dulu udah cari-cari nih, gimana caranya untuk ningkatin skor TOEFL kalian, terutama kalian ngerasa bahwa reading section itu yang paling habis-habisin waktu, Miss, atau yang paling susah. Nah, kalian harus stay sampai akhir, karena nanti Mr. Darren, yaitu Senior Teacher Manager dari IF Malang, akan menjelaskan sama kalian bagaimana caranya untuk mendapatkan skor yang oke di reading section. Nah, jadi Mr. Darren ini kita impor langsung nih dari Malang untuk teman-teman semua di sini. Jadi kita akan ketemu sama Mr. Darren secara online untuk teman-teman bisa dengerin. Yuk kita sapa dulu Mr. Darren-nya. Hi Mr. Darren, are you there?
Hello Vicky, hello everybody.
Oh, hi Mr. Darren, nice mustache.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, look at the picture of your old you without the mustache, and then you with the mustache. Absolutely better with one.
Oh, that's very nice to hear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Darren, have you had your coffee? How are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm ready to go. Yeah, all coffeeed up.
Oh, all covered up. Okay. So maybe we will say hi first to everyone here, and we want to know where they all came from. Nah, teman-teman coba di sini sekaligus kita tes juga ya. Apakah suaranya Miss Vicky udah jelas? Suaranya Mr. Darren udah clear juga? Koneksinya kalian oke? Dan audionya udah oke? Coba kalian ketik di kolom komentar kalian berasal dari kota mana. Oke. Coba ketik di kolom komentar yuk, kita pengen tahu kira-kira kalian udah loud and clear dan kalian datang dari mana aja nih? Surabaya, Bondowoso. Oke. Wow, hey Mr. Darren, there are someone from Makassar and Pekanbaru.
Wow. Pekanbaru, I don't even know where that is.
You don't even know where Pekanbaru is? Well, where is
Very bad
Pekanbaru?
at geography.
Bandung, Bandung. Do you know Bandung, Mr.?
Oh, I know Bandung. I've heard of Bandung.
Oh yeah, okay. Taufik, Mr. Darren know Bandung. Papua, do you know Papua?
Papua, yes. No, I don't know that. What's that one? Lubuk Linggau. Wow.
Lubuk Linggau, Sumsel, Sumatera Selatan.
Wow, I
Sumatera.
see.
Oh. Pekanbaru is in Riau. Wow.
Okay.
That's
wow,
far.
that's far, right?
Okay, and Bali. Hi, Bali. We also have EF in Bali. Right? Oke, nah terima kasih semuanya yang udah ngasih tahu dari mana aja kalian. Halo semuanya. Kita sekarang lokasinya lagi ada di IF Surabaya nih, kalau Miss Vicky. Kalau Mr. Darren ada di IF Malang. Jadi kalian bisa say hi kalau seandainya kalian ada yang di Malang juga dan mau mampir ke IF Centernya terdekat. Oke semuanya, sebelum kita mulai nih materinya, kita belajar pagi hari ini, Miss Vicky mau jelasin sedikit aja. Kalian boleh banget untuk menyalakan kameranya supaya nanti Mr. Darren sama Miss Vicky bisa ngeliat nih gimana keseruannya dan pembelajaran bisa lebih interaktif. Dan yang kedua, kalian dimohon untuk mematikan mikrofonnya kalian supaya nanti audionya tidak bertabrakan dengan yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren. Jika kalian ada pertanyaan selama acara atau tentang materi yang dijelaskan, kalian boleh banget langsung ketik di kolom komentar, karena nanti akan kita bahas nih ketika ada waktu. Jadi kalian kalau seandainya ada sesuatu yang nggak paham, bisa langsung, Miss aku tadi yang itu nggak paham, maksudnya apa ya? Itu boleh banget langsung diketik di kolom komentar. Nggak usah takut, hari ini kita semuanya belajar, jadi di sini nanti kalian kalau seandainya mau coba-cobain jawab soal, itu mau salah mau benar nggak apa-apa, yang penting nanti in the end of the day teman-teman tahu gimana caranya menjawab soal dengan benar ketika tes benerannya. Oke everyone, Miss Vicky juga mau ingetin jangan lupa untuk stay di akhir acara, karena nanti di akhir acara kalian akan dapat e-certificate gratis dari sebagai peserta IF Talks hari ini, bahwa kalian sudah pernah mengikuti IF Talks kelas gratis tingkatkan skor TOEFL reading section kita. Jadi teman-teman bisa masukin tuh sertifikatnya di mana aja, bisa masukin LinkedIn-nya kalian, atau mungkin nanti untuk daftar sekolah atau daftar ke perusahaannya selanjutnya. Jadi teman-teman bisa simpan e-sertifikat itu, dan pastiin untuk tetap stay di akhir acara, karena nanti kita akan recheck lagi namanya kalian, dan kalian bisa masukin nama official kalian di sertifikat itu. Jadi stay tune ya. Okay, Mr. Darren, maybe I already said hi to them and everything. Maybe we want to know about the reading section that you going to explain.
Okay. Hold on, let me share my screen.
Okay. Oke, oh iya, nah teman-teman Mr. Darren akan share screen nih. Nanti materi-materinya yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren, kalau kalian ngerasa ada yang penting atau mau kalian catat, it's okay, nggak perlu kalian catat atau bingung screenshot yang ada di layar, karena nanti materinya juga akan kita kirimkan kalian, dan kalian bisa lihat lagi recordingnya untuk seminar hari ini di YouTube IF Surabaya. Jadi pastiin untuk subscribe. Dan juga kalian selama materi fokus aja untuk mendengarkan apa yang disampaikan sama Mr. Darren, dan kalau ada pertanyaan bisa langsung ketik di kolom komentar. Oke, Mr. Darren.
Okay, thanks. By the way, I think you were telling them there, don't worry about kind of taking screenshots and things like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Good, absolutely. There is one part where I will just show you 3 slides that you can screenshot so that you can use them during this webinar if you want to. But yeah, most of the time you don't need to.
Okay. Yeah, because we will send the material in the end for them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so welcome to reading, which is one of the most difficult ones to do online. And for some people, it's the most difficult part of the TOEFL test because it's so long, really, and a bit boring. Not this webinar, just a test. If you have a look here, you'll see that of all the parts of the test, it's by far the longest. So it's 55 minutes, almost an hour, and there are 50 questions. Okay. I won't talk too much more about it. I'll just give you some general reading tips. These are basic general reading tips for the TOEFL test. Okay. But the first one is a good tip anyway, which is read more. Lots of students that I have, when they ask for tips for reading, they're often asking for tips to improve reading without actually doing any reading. They just want kind of tricks that'll help them without reading. Honestly, the best thing you can do is practice. Okay. Build your vocabulary, especially academic English, because most of the things that you'll read in the TOEFL test are the kind of things that you'll read in university textbooks and things like that. So try and build that kind of vocabulary. Again, one of the best ways to do this is by reading more, okay? Read some boring textbook articles and things like that, and it'll get your mind into the sort of academic English mode, if you like. The next one is to study discourse markers, and by that I mean linking words. These are words that you find in writing which kind of show you what to expect in the following sentences. And I think I have some examples here. Sorry, Vicky, do you need to translate or anything? Are you translating today?
Maybe not yet. I will translate after this explanation.
Okay. So here are just a few examples of discourse markers. The top ones that you can see here are for adding or emphasizing. And the first 2 are extremely formal. But that's why you kind of find them in TOEFL. Furthermore, moreover, in fact, also, things like that. Then if you find in a piece of writing, however, in contrast, on the other hand, what that tells you is that the next thing you're going to read is contrasting with what you've just read. And that's what I mean by signposts. Words like this will help to kind of gel the reading together and make it make more sense to you, hopefully. There are other ones like giving examples. We hopefully all know for example and for instance, and cause and effect, which is words basically meaning because and so, but they have more formal ones like as a result, consequently, and therefore. There are many, many other discourse markers, but I'm not going to talk about them much today. Okay. Okay,
maybe I'll explain a bit. Oke, nah teman-teman tadi udah dikasih tahu sama Mr. Darren, tips utama untuk kalian bisa scoring oke nih di reading section adalah kalian banyak-banyak baca. Ya mau gimana lagi ya, emang kita harus banyak-banyak baca, terutama bacaan-bacaan bahasa Inggris, dan itu akan membantu banget kalau seandainya kalian juga baca tentang academic English. Karena di situ kalian dapat vocabulary baru yang jarang dipakai sama orang-orang ketika ngobrol. Dan kalian perlu tahu artinya apa. Jadi ketika kalian beneran ikut skor TOEFL, ikut tes TOEFL nih, udah bayar mahal-mahal, terus habis itu kalian pengen dong kalau kalian udah tahu artinya itu apa, tanpa harus nebak-nebak. Nah, di sini juga ada tips sedikit sama Mr. Darren, gimana kalian nanti memahami paragraf itu tentang apa atau menjelaskan soal apa adalah tentang memahami discourse marker, yaitu yang ada di layar sekarang ini. Jadi kalian bisa lihat ada fungsinya, apakah dia itu kayak untuk emphasize atau dia itu untuk membandingkan, atau untuk memberikan contoh, atau membuat kayak apa itu sebab akibat. Nah, itu ada common discourse markers, jadi contoh-contoh kata-katanya yang sering dipakai nih dalam bahasa Inggris. Ini juga lumayan penting nih untuk kalian bisa note atau pelajari lebih lanjut supaya langsung tahu ketika ada tulisan in contrast, oh berarti itu tentang contrasting, berarti ini mungkin bacaannya soal membandingkan, atau kalau tulisannya ada such as, itu berarti dia itu ngasih contoh hal-hal yang kayak gitu. Makanya itu penting sama kalian untuk dipahami. Oke, Mr. Darren.
Okay. The next tip, of course, is read more. I will keep saying it because it's important. One place that you can get reading practice, and I know how dull this is lots of TOEFL practice tests online. That is the best practice you can get. The last tip, or second to last tip, I suppose, is to break the text down to what we call nutshell each paragraph. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. It's quite simple, but basically, you want the overall meaning of each paragraph so that you can then find the answers more easily because you'll know roughly where to look. And finally, I will say it one more time because it's important. Please read more. Okay.
I will.
Oh, sorry. Did you want to talk about that?
No, I will
okay.
read more.
Okay. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, with the reading section, should you read all the text first, or should you read the questions first and then look at the text? What I'd like you to do is just type in the chat box, what if you've taken a TOEFL test before, or a similar test, what do you usually do? Do you read all of the text and then look at the questions, or do you look at the questions first?
Gimana teman-teman kalian biasanya ngerjain itu baca bacaannya dulu, teksnya first, atau pertanyaannya dulu ketika kalian mungkin di sekolah atau udah pernah ngambil tes TOEFL? Mr. Darren mau tahu. So, Mr. Darren, Amalia say, oh, most of them are like
I think everybody says look at the question first. Yeah.
Me too, actually. I used to like look at the question first. Is that correct or wrong?
It's what all my students do, even though I tell them not to sometimes. Who's that there? Emba. Skim the passage, read question and answer. I love that one because that's exactly what I do.
Okay.
Basically, you shouldn't read the whole text before looking at the questions, but I don't think you should look at the questions before at least looking a little bit at the text either. Skim the text first and then read the questions. Okay. And when I say skimming, basically you're reading fast, but you're not reading all of it. You're reading the important parts to try and basically just get the gist of what's being written. And I'm going to hopefully show you how to do that now. The most important thing, oh, sorry.
Wow.
I forgot, I just wanted to show you. It is a lot, although I must say this is one of the shorter passages that you're likely to get in
that's the short one.
The TOEFL test. Yeah. If I'd chosen a bigger one, I don't think it would fit on the screen. And the point here is that's a lot of reading. So you definitely don't want to read all of this first and then start looking at the questions because it takes too long. But it's not quite as intimidating if I take most of it away and just leave you with the first sentence. Okay. When you're skimming, what you should basically do is read the first sentence of each paragraph, because that's basically the sentence which is introducing the paragraph. So it'll tell you what the paragraph is about. So here, that text was only 3 paragraphs, and now we've only got 3 sentences. What I'd like you to do is read the first sentence and then decide what that paragraph is going to be about. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Amber is not a mineral, but is used as and called a semi-precious stone. So what is this paragraph going to be about?
About amber.
You can type your answers in the chat box if you like, everybody.
Okay. Teman-teman mungkin mau coba jawab. Kira-kira Paragraf pertama menjelaskan soal apa? Kalau kita cuma dikasih satu kalimat itu yang ada di layar. Explaining what amber
Good.
is, origin of amber. What do you think, Mr. Darren?
I think they're very good. Explaining what amber is, I agree. This was my answer. Oh, if I can make it click, there we go. What is amber? That's basically it. And all your answers were along those lines. Let's have a look at the second one then, which is slightly different. Hundreds of deposits of amber occur around the world, most of them in trace quantities. So what's this paragraph going to be about?
Oke, nah menurut kalian kalau paragraf kedua menjelaskan soal apa ya? I know this one. Oops.
Okay, not so many answers for this one. Okay. And I can see some, one or two people saying this paragraph will be giving arguments to support what you're saying. Yes, but don't think too much about essay structure and things like that. Look at each paragraph individually at the beginning, just so that you can get an idea of mainly what that paragraph is about. Oh, hold on, I've got some more answers. Deposits. Why is amber? I quite like that one. I would have gone for where rather than why. Like, where is amber found? Okay, that's what that sentence says to me. And then the third one is in some ways slightly similar. Amber is almost always preserved in a sediment that collected at the bottom of an ancient lagoon or river delta at the edge of an ocean or sea. So what's that one about?
Nah, kalau yang paragraf 3, menurut teman-teman apa? Tadi kan udah yang paragraf pertama kayaknya ngomongin soal ambernya, apa itu amber. Yang paragraf kedua kayak di mana aja kira-kira kalian bisa menemukan amber. Dan paragraf ketiga itu, do you think that the third paragraph is the where is amber found? No?
It looks like that because it's talking about, excuse me, let me move my chat box, sediments that collect at the bottom of an ancient lagoon or river. But I love that one. What's that? Who's that? Nur Aziza has got exactly the same answer as me, I think.
Oh, how is
amber formed?
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Now, if your answers are slightly different, or you read that sentence and get a slightly different meaning, don't worry. It's just to give you a general idea of where things are. And sometimes the first sentence won't help you very much. You might have to read a little bit more or read the previous sentence. But as long as you're getting a basic idea of what each paragraph is, that's the whole reason to skim it first. And so these are what I call your nutshells. It's basically taking the whole paragraph and putting it into one very simple thing. Okay?
Okay. Nah, ini tadi salah satu contohnya yang Mr. Darren udah jelaskan. Tadi salah satu tipsnya Mr. Darren adalah ambil paragrafnya dan buat itu menjadi nutshell atau kayak cuman kulit kacang kecil aja gitu. Nah, jadi gimana cara mudah untuk mengerjakan reading? Yang pertama adalah kalian melakukan skimming. Jadi bukan kayak yang tadi milih antara baca-bacaannya dulu atau baca pertanyaannya dulu. Kalian ternyata kata Mr. Darren yang pertama adalah lakukan skimming dari bacaannya. Nah, caranya lakukan skimming dari bacaannya adalah lihat aja kalimat pertamanya nih, kayak yang ada di layar Mr. Darren udah kasih. Lalu kalian kira-kira udah dapat idea nutshell-nya apa yang dibahas sama paragraf itu berdasarkan dari kalimat pertamanya tadi. Jadi contoh seperti yang ada di layar, paragraf pertama kayaknya ngomongin tentang what is amber. Terus habis itu paragraf kedua ngomongin where is amber found, dan yang ketiga how is amber formed. Setelah kalian udah selesai sama proses skimming ini tadi dan mengambil kesimpulan kira-kira paragraf-paragraf itu artinya apa, baru kita next ke step selanjutnya. Oke, Mr. Darren, so what is the next step after this?
I'll just mention one more time, by the way. The reason we do this, rather than reading the questions first, is because for a lot of the questions, once you know roughly where how the information is organized in the text, it's then easier to know where to look when you do look at the questions. Okay.
Perfect.
The next thing I'm going to do is just give you this on the screen for 10 seconds if you want to screenshot it. You don't need to. I will still put it on the screen later for the reading, but if you want to have it there as an extra thing to look at when we're looking at the questions, you can screenshot it now. So I'll give you a few seconds.
Oke, nah teman-teman bisa coba karena kita ngerjain reading section ya, jadi nanti kan ada soal, ada pertanyaan, kalian kalau mau screenshot bacaan ini, boleh diambil sekarang, kalau seandainya enggak juga nggak apa-apa, karena nanti sambil jawab pertanyaan, kita juga akan kembali lagi ke slide ini.
Okay, I hope if you wanted to get it, you have done, because there's 2 more. So there's paragraph 2 if you want to screenshot that. Again, I hope you've done it, because here comes paragraph 3. Okay. Okay. So that was us kind of skimming the text. Now let's have a look at some questions. On the ITP test, there are basically 6 different types of questions, and we'll look at as many as we have time for today. The most common one are factual details. And these are questions where you're looking for a particular detail in the text, as simple as that. It might be a date, it might be a name, it might just be a fact. Most of the questions are factual detail questions. Now, I'm going to show you an example of one from a different piece of reading. Okay, and this is what they look like. Most of the reading questions look like this. Now, for these questions, you need to look for keywords in the question and then scan the text to find the answer. Excuse me. Much like in the listening test, which we'll look at in the next webinar, you're not looking for the exact same words usually in the text and the answer. You'll be looking for paraphrasing. Okay. One other thing that I'd like to mention is some of these questions are really easy to find the answer because you know exactly where to look. Partly from nutshelling at the beginning, but also if your question has dates or place names with capital letters and things like that, they basically stand out in the text, so they're easy to find. And some of them, excuse me, if you're lucky, have something like this, which is quotation. So you can see a competitive edge over its neighbors comes directly from the text. So you just need to find that in the text. I've highlighted it here for you. But even if I hadn't done, you should be able to find it quite quickly. Gave the city a competitive edge over its neighbors. Excuse me. Well, that should be easy then to find the answer. Let's have a look. It seems likely that Teotihuacan, I don't know how you say that, natural resources, along with the city elite's ability to recognize their potential, gave the city a competitive edge over its neighbors. So here's your answer. Natural resources along with the city elite's ability to recognize their potential. Now have a look at your answers to the question, A, B, C, and D, and type your answer in the chat box.
Oke, nah menurut teman-teman di sini ada yang udah bisa coba-coba jawab pertanyaan pertama ini nggak? Jadi ini adalah tentang factual details. Kalian mencari apa yang ada di dalam bacaannya. Karena tadi kita mau tahu apa definisinya dari a competitive edge over its neighbors. Udah ketemu juga sama Mr. Darren ditunjukin di bacaannya itu tadi. Dan udah dimerah-merahin untuk kalian. Kira-kira kalian tahu nggak? Untuk menjawab soal ini, itu jawaban yang terbenar apa? A, B, C, atau D? B, B, D. Some of them answer A.
A lot of A's and a maybe D. Excuse me, I need to keep moving these boxes keep appearing every time someone comes into the waiting room. If you said A, very well done, you're absolutely right. And this is what I mean by paraphrasing. What gives the city a competitive edge is natural resources and the city elite's ability to recognize their potential. Well, the natural resources are readily available commodity. Commodity meaning resources, natural means they're readily available. The city elites, the people, and their ability to recognize their potential means that they can exploit it well. Okay, that's quite hardcore paraphrasing. But yeah, that's how you should find your answers. Hold on, we've got some other answers coming through.
So
lots
also
of
one
A's.
skill you need to have is paraphrasing, yeah, Mr. Darren.
Yeah, it's a difficult skill to kind of develop. But what you should do is not fall into the trap of looking for exactly the same words. Okay. I see B there, the presence of a highly stable elite class is kind of trapping you here because you see this city elites here and think, wow, that must be that's what's doing it. But it's not, it's the resources. And then what did B say? And the highly stable elite class, if they were stable, their ability to use those resources. Okay, without the resources, they would be nothing. And yeah, the other answers like B and C and D are using a lot of words from here and trying to sort of trap you into going, oh yes, that's the word I've seen, therefore that's the right answer.
Okay. I'll try to explain that a bit ya. Oke, nah teman-teman, ternyata tadi Mr. Darren juga ngasih tahu bahwa untuk reading section ini cukup tricky juga. Salah satu skill yang kalian perlu banget untuk punya adalah paraphrasing. Jadi melihat satu kalimat, tapi nanti diganti-ganti nih vocabulary-nya untuk jadi kalimat yang baru, tapi tidak mengganti artinya. Dan malah contohnya ketika mungkin nanti teman-teman ada yang jawab di poin B, atau C, atau D, itu karena melihat kata-kata yang udah sama persis nih, sama yang ada di bacaannya. Jadi kayak, oh ini karena ada tulisannya elite, di sini juga tulisannya elite, jadi kayaknya jawabannya B deh. Nah, itu malah yang biasanya menjebak kalian. Dan ketika kalian punya kemampuan huruf paraphrasing, jadinya bisa tahu bahwa kalau available commodity itu artinya sama dengan recognize their potential. Terus habis itu well exploited itu artinya sama dengan yang city elite's ability bla bla bla. Jadinya disitulah kalian penting untuk belajar juga paraphrasing dan bisa juga untuk benar-benar melatih skill paraphrasing kalian untuk lebih mudah banget menjawab soal-soal di reading. Oke, Mr. Darren.
Okay. Now we'll go back to that text that we had about Amber, and I'll give you one of the questions from here. There we go. Excuse me, there we go. Which of the following is true about deposits of amber? Now, if you have a look at all the answers, there's a limited number of large deposits of amber in the world. Most deposits contain large quantities of amber specimens. The major amber deposits were formed at approximately the same time, and the deposits were formed primarily by tropic broadleaf trees. With this one, it's not easy to use your nutshells to know where to look, because the first two sentences are probably in paragraph 2, like where amber is, and then C and D might be in paragraph 2 or paragraph 3. Okay, but don't worry, I've chosen the paragraph for you. Okay, let me close that. Now first, just have a read through the paragraph and you can answer straight away if you want.
Oke, mungkin teman-teman udah ada yang tahu artinya nih. Bacaan itu coba pakai taktik yang tadi, terus coba jawab A, B, C, atau D. Yang mana dari kalimat ini yang benar soal deposit of amber?
Yeah, look for keywords like deposits of amber. Okay. I'm getting lots of B's. Everybody B, I think. Wow, okay. Lots of B's and finally a C. Okay. Let me show you how I would answer this. First of all, I would look at this bit here, okay? They keep mentioning deposits all the way through, but when you come across this sentence, only about 20 such rich deposits of amber exist in the world. This is your answer, okay? And again, look at the paraphrasing. Only about 20, only is telling you it's a small number, and that's a limited number, okay? Large deposits are rich deposits of amber. Now, a lot of you put B. Let me see if I can go back I hope so. Yes, okay. Most of you are saying B. Most deposits contain large quantities of amber specimens. Now, where are we? Hold on. Only occasionally has amber survived in quantities large enough to be mined. Only about 20 rich deposits of this exist in the world. Look at the words like only. They use only twice, occasionally. All of these mean that it's rare. And therefore, the word most in answer B means it's wrong. Okay. Hold on, let me look at the other answers. And we're still getting lots of B's and C's. Again, you're going to have to read the question really, really carefully and the answers really, really carefully. Most deposits contain large quantities means that, you know, it's the majority of the deposits have lots of amber. But that's not true. If you read this middle part, only occasionally has amber survived in quantities large enough to be mined. Only about 20 such rich deposits of amber exist in the world. Okay, and that only and occasionally is telling you that it's a limited number. Your answer is A.
Oke, yang tadi udah jawab A, congratulations teman-teman, benar. Jadi karena di bacaan ini ada kata-kata only occasionally, hanya kadang-kadang, only about 20, hanya sekitar 20. Berarti paragraf ini kayak menekankan bahwa amber itu cuma dikit gitu di tempat tertentu. Jadi meskipun dia bilangnya rich deposit, tapi cuma ada 20 di dunia, deposit yang lumayan besar buat amber. Nah, disitulah kalian makanya jawaban A itu paling tepat karena dia bilangnya hanya ada terbatas nih, large deposit of amber in the world. Kayak gitu. Jadi itu sebenarnya sama aja, cuman beda paraphrasing kayak yang tadi udah dipelajari.
Okay. Should we try the next one? That was a tough one, yeah?
Okay, let's try the next one.
The next type of question is basically the same type of question. It's still a factual detail question, but we call them negative factual details because now instead of looking for something which is true according to the text, we're looking for something which is not true. This means that 3 answers will be true and 1 of them will be not true, and that's the one you need to find. Let me show you an example. Excuse me, again from that strange named city in Mexico. These questions are easy to find, easy to spot, if you like, because TOEFL very generously capitalizes the words like except or not. Okay, and each of these questions will say something like each of the following is mentioned, blah blah blah, except, or everything, or the following things are mentioned. Sorry. How do they put it? Which of the following is not mentioned in the text? And the not, again, will be capitalized. So it's quite easy to see them. All right. Some people say that these questions take a little bit longer because you have to find the 3 wrong answers, which sometimes is true. But honestly, when you're doing the factual details, you should be spending a little bit of time making sure that the other answers aren't correct. Because sometimes when you think you found the right answer and you just go on to the next question, if you take the time to look at the other answers, you might suddenly see, oh, wait, this one looks correct as well. Then you can just compare the 2 and decide which one's the best answer. So let's have a look at these ones. You're doing the same thing, remember, look for keywords. And I mentioned before, dates are very useful because they stand out in the text. So here we've got AD 150 and 700. That should be easy to find in your text. So we find it, and then we try and find these answers. We've got regularly arranged streets, several administrative centers spread across the city, many manufacturing workshops and apartment complexes. So 3 of these are mentioned as a feature of the city. So let's see which 3. I've highlighted where they're mentioned. Type your answer into the chat box. Excuse me.
Oke, coba teman-teman, karena sekarang kita lagi ngerjain soal negative factual questions. Kalian mencari mana yang salah nih. Dan katanya Mr. Darren, TOEFL biasanya suka nge-capitalize kata-kata keyword kayak not atau except untuk meng-highlight bahwa kita lagi cari mana yang salah di antara jawaban-jawaban yang benar. Jadi kita coba cari yang salah yang mana ya. Dan yang pertama kali kita lakukan adalah nyari dulu 3 yang benernya yang mana.
And we're getting
Oke,
lots
kalian
of
udah
B's.
ada jawaban di mana? Oke, you can type your answer in the chat box. Ada B. A lot of them mentioning B, Mr. Darren.
Everybody B, I think, isn't it? Yeah. And I like that extra clear answer. B because of an and several. Yeah, absolutely right. So B says several administrative centers, and they just say an administrative center. Again, the wrong answers are often paraphrases. Apartment complexes is not. That's quite straightforward. I think 2,000 apartment complexes. Many manufacturing workshops, which are the same as large number, many industrial manufacturing workshops. And regularly arranged streets, where it talks about a regular grid pattern of streets. Everybody said B, so well done. I think you're ready. Let's have a look and see what question we have about Amber. This is what I mean about the capitalization, by the way. You should get used to kind of looking at these questions and going, now I'm looking for the wrong answer. Which of the following is not true of amber? It's composed of an organic material. It's basically the same as it was millions of years ago. It may contain the remains of tiny animals, or it is made by a process of mineral replacement. This question is definitely sort of what is amber? So you should be looking in the first paragraph, if you remember your nutshells. So we will. You can answer it now if you want, or I can make it a little bit easier for you. There you go. I've highlighted the bit where they mention each answer. Okay. Okay, I'm getting lots and lots of B's. Let me close that a moment. So when you're looking at these, remember, you need to find all of the answers, and we've got them all here. Okay, usually mineral replacements of the original structure is D. Hold on, I need to move this box around now. You can go up there. There we go. So that's D. It's made by a process of mineral replacement. Amber is entirely organic. It is composed of an organic material. Okay. Its composition from the original tree resin has changed little over millions of years. Changed little means hasn't changed much, which is basically the same as saying it is basically the same as it was millions of years ago. And then we've got C. Even the inclusions of tiny organisms in amber are strikingly intact. It may contain the remains of tiny animals. So they're all mentioned here. It looks as though we might have 4 correct answers. Sorry, I saw a question there about unstated details. It's very similar. Unstated are things which are not mentioned. Here, they're all mentioned. Your question is about which of these things is not true of amber. But they're all mentioned here, so it looks like 4 correct answers. So you need to read a little bit more carefully. Read around the answers. Read before and read after.
It's D.
It's what?
D,
What did you?
D, right?
D, Vicky? Wow,
Yeah,
well done.
it's
And
D
now we're
because
getting
we are
Ds. Now
talking-
we're getting Ds. Good, absolutely right. Just because of the word unlike. They're talking about other fossils, basically, like dinosaur bones and impressions of ferns, leaves, and insect wings in rocks. This is not amber. Unlike these kinds of fossils, not amber, which are usually mineral replacements of the original structure, not amber, and then they talk about amber. Okay, therefore your answer is D. So be really careful with these, find all of the answers, and if they all look correct, then you're missing something. So you need to read around a little bit. Okay.
Okay, nah.
Sorry, my Thing keeps falling over. Okay. Okay, let's move on because we're running out of time already. To vocabulary questions.
Okay.
What I mean by vocabulary questions is they will choose a word from the text and ask you basically what it means. All right, let me show you an example. And they all look like this. The word in quotation marks, tell you where to find it in paragraph 2, is closest in meaning to, and then they have 4 definitions. Okay. Now I should warn you, there are different types of vocabulary question. Some of them are words that they don't expect you to know, and you need to use context to work out what they are. Other ones are words that look like words that you do know, but they're being used in a slightly different way, and they're sometimes the trickiest. But let's have a look at this one anyway. We've got the word here, the ingenuity. When you find a vocabulary question, read the whole sentence, okay? Oh, it's a long one here. The exact role of other factors is much more difficult to pinpoint. For instance, Teotihuacan, however you say it, religious significance as a shrine, the historical situation in and around the Valley of Mexico towards the end of the 1st millennium, the ingenuity and foresightedness of Teotihuacan elite, and finally, the impact of natural disasters. Okay. Ingenuity and foresightedness. Which of these words do you think goes? Ambition, sincerity, faith, or cleverness? Oh, I'm missing lots of answers in the chat box, excuse me.
Ingenuity. I never heard that word before.
Ingenuity.
But maybe look from the reading, it looks like a negative word.
Why does it look like a negative word?
Because it's side by side with volcanic eruption, no? Impact of natural disaster?
It is,
Or
to be
that's a good
fair, yeah.
thing?
Well, it's a good thing if you read the whole paragraph, or if you've nutshelled it and you know what these paragraphs are about. If you read the first sentence of this one, how did this tremendous development take place and why did it happen here? And then they're talking about other factors. So they're actually talking about a really good thing.
Oh, okay. So
strangely here, natural disasters are really good things. But yeah. All right, let me check the answers. We've got A's, D's, C's, a few more D's, mostly D's and quite a few A's. Okay. I'll tell you the answer right now. Oh, should I? No. You may not have heard the word ingenuity, but you might have heard the word ingenious. And that's another thing you can do. If you find a word you don't know, but it looks quite similar to a different word, you know, you might just have the noun form of an adjective and things like that. Then it might give you a hint as to what it means. Also, foresightedness. If you don't know ingenuity, you've probably never heard of foresightedness either. But foresightedness is a good thing. It means being able to predict really the future, not in a clairvoyant way. Ingenious means clever. Ingenuity means cleverness. Okay.
All right.
And that's the answer for that one. This one's
Good
a tricky
job,
one. Well done if you got it, yeah. This is a tricky one to do because if you do try and use context, most of these words will fit. You know, the ambition, yeah, that would work. So here you do need to look at the word and hopefully you know the word ingenious, things like that. I'm going to show you one from our reading now. See if I can. There we go. And again, for this one, all of these answers will fit into the text. So we need to look at it quite carefully. We've got the word intact. Sorry, let me move this again. The word intact in line 8 is closest in meaning to beautiful, unusual, obvious, or unchanged. Now, if you know the word intact, you're probably okay. But remember, sometimes they'll give you words that they think you know, and they'll use them with a different meaning. All right, so let's have a look at the text. I've highlighted the word for you. The first thing you can do is just put the words in. Sometimes the word just won't fit there. It doesn't make sense. Even the inclusions of tiny organisms in amber are strikingly beautiful. Okay. Strikingly unusual. Okay. Strikingly obvious. That's okay. Strikingly unchanged. Also okay. So all of them make sense. So what you need to do now is read around the word. Read the sentence before, read the sentence after. Then decide what your answer is. Okay, I'm getting lots and lots of D's, so I'm going to go quite quick and say you're absolutely right. Look at what these sentences are talking about around the word. Has changed little. Exquisite preservation, again, meaning hasn't changed. So yes, the word that best fits in there is unchanged. Okay. Sorry, let me just check the chat. Okay, well done, everybody, for D. Great job.
Congratulations.
I'm rushing a little bit because I definitely want to get to my next question because I think it's usually my most useful tip, which is reference questions. Reference questions look a lot like vocabulary questions. They're worded almost exactly the same. The word blah, 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 in line, blah, blah, blah. Best in vocabulary, they say is closest in meaning. For reference questions, they say refers to, and I'll show you one now. Okay, the word it in this paragraph refers to blah, blah, blah. Oh. Now, I haven't given you any answers here because that is my tip. If you can train yourself to, when you see a question like this, not look at the answers before you try and answer it. I know that sounds crazy. I think it's really, really useful because sometimes the wrong answers will kind of trick your mind and you'll look at it and think, oh yeah, there it is. So try and do it without looking at the answers first. So have a look at the word it and just type into the chat box, what do you think it refers to? What is it?
Oke. Teman-teman mau cobain nggak? Ini salah satu tipsnya Mr. Darren ketika mengerjakan soal reference, yaitu nggak usah baca jawabannya, tapi belajar dulu kalau seandainya dia nanya it itu merefer to apa. Jadi kalian lihat di bacaannya, kira-kira it itu refer to apa ya? Ada yang tahu nggak? It ini apa yang dimaksud? Tanpa lihat jawabannya. Coba kalian ketik. Ada yang bilang hard volcanic stone, the rise of the Olmec. What do you think, Mr. Darren? I think I know the answer to this.
Well, before anyone else gives an answer, I'm just going to show you all the answers. Okay, so let's have a look at them. Hold on. There we are. Can you see them? So we've got a secure market, obsidian, a people, and great demand. And we had the rise of the Olmecs and hard volcanic stone. So none of those are in your answers. So now, which of those answers do you think is correct?
Ayo. Nah, tadi ternyata nggak ada yang udah kalian ketik. Jadi di antara yang kalian ketik itu, kira-kira padanan katanya atau yang dimaksud di A, B, C, atau D ada nggak?
Okay, and we've got lots of B's and C's. Okay, C's for the people, I guess, would be the Olmecs, and B, obsidian, is the hard volcanic stone. The answer is B. Well done if you put B. And it's a tricky one here because what it is referring to is, wow, look at that, almost 2 lines ahead of it. Okay, but if you put the hard volcanic stone without looking at the answers, you are absolutely right. Okay, so you can find what the it is referring to. Once you've got words here which come up in the text, it's very easy to sort of see great demand or secure market or people and go, oh, wait, there we go, a people who flourished. And then we say it. That must be right. The reason a people is wrong here, by the way, is partly because none of this information is in your main sentence, is in your main clause. I'm sorry. This bit is separated by brackets. It's just telling you who the Olmecs were. The Olmecs were people who flourished, blah, blah, blah. And here you'll notice it's separated by commas, at least since the rise of the Olmecs, a people who flourished between 1200 and 400 BC, comma. Now, when you've got information like that separated by commas, usually, and I say usually, over 90% of the time, you can take that out of the sentence and your sentence will make sense. And because the it is outside of the commas, you can ignore everything in between the commas. So what you have is the hard volcanic stone was a resource that had been in great demand for many years, and it apparently had a secure market. Okay, and
wow.
learning to kind of get rid of the extra information that you don't need is quite important, not just in reading, but also in the structure section. I should say though, if the it was inside the commas or the brackets, then you would need to look inside the brackets or inside the commas. I hope that makes sense. Maybe you can make that clearer for me, Ricky.
Oke, so ini juga salah satu tips oke banget dari Mr. Darren, bahwa biasanya salah satu structure dalam kalimat bahasa Inggris itu banyak kalimat keterangannya. Kayak contohnya yang lagi kita lihat sekarang. Mulai dari tulisan the hard volcanic stone, bla bla bla, terus habis itu ada komanya lagi setelahnya many years, terus habis itu ada penjelasannya lagi at least since the rise of the Olmecs, terus ntar setelahnya 400 BC itu ada komanya lagi. Dan baru kita bahas it apparently had a secure market. Nah, kalimat yang di antara koma ini biasanya hanya kalimat keterangan. Jadi biasanya kalian itu, katanya Mr. Darren ya, 90% kemungkinannya itu sebenarnya nggak penting. Kecuali memang kalimat itu yang ditanyain soalnya. Tapi karena kita lagi nggak bahas kalimat yang di antara koma, jadi itu tuh nggak ada hubungannya. Makanya ketika kalian milih the people, meskipun dia itu paling deket sama it-nya yang ditanyakan, sebenarnya itu cuma buat ngejebak aja, atau itu memang cuma buat kata keterangan aja. Jadi kayak informasi kayak Vicky itu si yang lagi nge-host adalah bla bla bla. Jadi sebenarnya yang lagi nge-hostnya ini nggak begitu esensial untuk kalian pahami atau bahkan jadi jawabannya. Nah, jadi kalian bisa coba mengabaikan atau belajar teknik gimana untuk mengabaikan kata-kata keterangan atau memahami apa itu kata keterangan, supaya nanti kalian jadi tidak mempertimbangkan kata-kata keterangan ini ketika menjawab soal-soal dan membuat malah misleading jawaban kalian. Dan disinilah makanya it-nya itu langsung loncat ke kata-kata pertamanya, yaitu the hard volcanic stone. Tapi karena the hard volcanic stone-nya ini nggak ada di pilihan jawabannya, kita mundur lagi satu kalimat yang mana itu membahas the hard volcanic stone itu adalah obsidian. Dan disitulah kalian bisa dapat jawaban B. Dan itu adalah juga jawaban yang benar. Jadi kalian coba latihan lagi ya. It's okay kalau kalian baru pertama kali juga tahu tentang ini, Miss Vicky juga. Jadi kita sama-sama belajar. Dan juga kita latihan-latihan lagi nih caranya untuk menjawab reading section. Dan kalian juga jangan sedih, bisa ngulangin lagi penjelasannya Mr. Darren kapanpun, karena video hari ini akan ada di YouTube-nya IF Surabaya. And Mr. Darren, there is a question that I wondering myself too. In the real test from Wira, in the real test, will the word as be marked or we have to find it ourselves?
Yeah.
Like the it.
In the real test, you have to find it yourselves. It's not marked, it's not highlighted or anything like that. However, it's very easy to find because in the text, they have line numbers down the side. So it'll say line number 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, like that. So it'll say, for example, the word it in line 7. So it's easy to find line 7. You just look at line 5, go 2 lines later, and then just scan across looking for the word it. So you do need to find it yourself, but it's really, really easy to find.
Okay. So one skill we have to have is also like to quickly scanning what is the question and where it is, because you make it easy for us here. Like with
Yes.
colors and everything.
Absolutely. I'm here to help.
Okay.
Yes, but honestly, it's not like you're scanning a whole paragraph or anything like that. It tells you which line to find it in. And it's really easy to find those lines because, like I say, every 5 lines, they put a little marker next to it, 5, 10, 15, like that. So don't worry about it. It's very easy to find.
Oke, teman-teman. Nah, itu tadi pertanyaannya Wira udah dijawab sama Mr. Darren. Nanti itu kalau seandainya kita disuruh nyari kata, langsung ditebelin atau diwarnain nggak kayak yang Mr. Darren udah ngebantu kita di layar. Jadi kita harus nyari sendiri ya ketika di tes aslinya. Nanti biasanya akan ada keterangan tambahan kayak the word it in paragraph 7 atau in line 7 itu bla bla bla, soalnya kayak gitu. Jadi udah dikasih tahu bahwa dia ada di baris ke-7 atau baris keberapa, dan biasanya barisnya itu udah ada angkanya. Jadi kalian bisa dengan gampang melihat. Gitu. Thank you, Mr. Darren.
Okay, let's have a quick practice with one of these reference questions with Amber.
Okay.
Again, I'm not going to show you the answers yet. So we've just got the word them, and this is how it would be in the normal test. The word them in line 18 refers to. Now, honestly, I've highlighted it again for you, but it's super easy to find. Okay, you find line 18 and then just scan across looking for the word them. All right, so there it is. What does it refer to? Type your answer into the chat box.
Nah, menurut kalian them yang ada di line 18 ini nggak usah dihitung, udah dikasih tahu sama Mr. Darren ada di sono. Itu refer to apa? Coba kalian ketik. Oh, ada yang bilang amber, ada yang bilang pine trees.
Yeah, there's lots of pine trees, lots of amber, and now there's lots of conifer trees. Okay, now I'll show you the answer, the possible answers. If I can, hold on. There we are. Now, if you put amber, you might think, oh. If you put pine trees, your answer is right there. So you should probably go with that one. Oh, but now I've got lots of people putting conifer trees. Wow, nearly everybody C. Well done. All right, everyone's going to say, and now we're going back with B. Oh, that's the same person with lots and lots of B, a hardcore B. Okay. This one is quite tricky because they mention all these things first. You know, we've got amber, pine trees, conifer trees. And then we've got these, the them is in the brackets here. So we need to look at this. Only a few of them apparently related to pines. Now, if we put pine trees in here, only a few of the pine trees are apparently related to pines. That doesn't make sense. You know, all pine trees are related to all other pine trees, I guess. If we put conifer trees in, we've got these different conifer trees. Only a few of the conifer trees are apparently related to pines. That makes sense. Okay. And again, if we put amber in, it sounds really strange. Only a few of amber deposits are apparently related to pines. It's possible, but it sounds a little bit strange. Here, and this is not something TOEFL does a lot, they've made it kind of simpler by putting what they're referring to right next to it and not separating it with a load of extra information. Okay, the correct answer is C. Hold on, let me check.
Yay.
I'm sorry if you put B. I've got all these happy people with B. But no, the answer is C. Yes, absolutely. That's another thing I should mention. Deposits is possible. Amber is not, because amber is uncountable. So if the answer here, if one of the answers was amber rather than deposits, that would be impossible. Okay, which is why they've chosen the word deposits instead, because deposits could work. Only a few of the amber deposits are apparently related to pines. That is grammatically possible, but you're right. If it was just amber, it wouldn't be possible. Okay. How are we for time, Vicky? Are we okay?
Do you, how many questions you have left?
One or two.
Okay, we can go with one or two. Nah,
can we do both of them?
Okay.
All right, we'll try.
Quickly.
I'll skip my examples and we'll just practice so you know what the other kinds of questions are. Purpose is a strange sounding question. It's asking why the writer has done something. Okay, sometimes it's why has the writer written this piece? The motivation, you know, why has he written it? Sometimes it's just why has he done a particular thing? So I'll show you an example now. When you're answering these questions, the answers always have reporting verbs: to illustrate, to support, to refute, to contrast, to compare, excuse me, to emphasize, to explain, to give an example, and many others. Okay. And you should know what all of these mean, basically, because if you don't know that to refute, what refute means, and you don't know what to illustrate means, you're not going to have much of a chance with this question, because they're basically opposite. To illustrate means to show, and to refute means to argue against something. Okay, there are lots of these verbs, and you do need to kind of get a list of them and just read what they mean and learn what they mean. Okay, let me give you an example of the question. Excuse me. Okay, why does the author mention dinosaur bones in the first paragraph? Is it to emphasize the age of fossils, to explain why there are more mineral replacement fossils than organic fossils, to compare them with amber as a different type of fossil, or to give an example of an object in which amber is commonly found?
I see.
Now, these ones are quite common, you know, give an example, compare, explain, emphasize, so you should have no problem. But this is one of the easier questions. Most of them have reporting verbs like refute and things like that, so do get used to those different verbs. We're going super fast, forgive me. I've highlighted the word. Answers in the chat box, please.
Ada yang mau coba kerjain soal ini? Bisa kalian ketik di kolom komentar kira-kira jawabannya apa. Jadi untuk yang sekarang, karena kita coba selesai lebih cepet nih, karena waktunya udah mepet banget. Nggak kerasa banget kita udah 1 jam seru-seruan sama Mr. Darren. Jadi kita mau coba jawab untuk soal yang ini yang tentang berusaha tahu kira-kira alasan dari paragraf itu apa. Contoh, okay, all of them answering C.
Pretty much everybody
Why
answering C.
okay.
Very good, well done. C is absolutely the correct answer.
Okay,
because
perfect.
we've got the word unlike. Okay, so he mentions dinosaur bones and then it says unlike these kinds of fossils, and then talks about amber, which is absolutely comparing the two. Well done. Okay, and now I'm going to go very quickly to the last one. The last type of question is usually for students the most difficult type of question, and you get one for pretty much every reading. Okay, and it's the main idea. It's asking you basically, what is this reading about? The reason that main idea questions are difficult is because quite often all of the answers seem correct. They might sometimes ask you about the main idea of a particular paragraph, but most of them are about the text as a whole. And when they give you questions like that, all of the wrong answers usually are correct for one paragraph or correct for one small part of the reading, but it's not the main idea of the whole thing. So that's what you need to be careful of for these ones. I don't know how much of a chance you've had to read the whole thing, but this is the kind of main idea question you'll get. The passage mainly discusses the difference between amber and mineral fossils, places where amber can be found, various characteristics of amber, types of trees that produced amber. Okay, and all of these things are mentioned in the text. I'm not just going to promise you that, I'm going to show you. Remember those nutshells? These should help you a little bit, because you've got what is amber, where is amber found, how is amber formed. Now, I won't say any more, but that's a big clue as to your answer. Okay, this is your whole text. Type your answers in the chat box.
Okay, wow.
Well done.
Question
awesome.
again,
I see lots of C's. Hold on. I see lots of C's. Sorry, I took the questions away. I'm rushing, aren't I? I'm going to show you where they mention each answer. Okay, we've got the difference. Sorry, I need to move this box again. My goodness, Zoom is annoying me today. There we are. The difference between amber and mineral fossils is mentioned here. That's 4 lines. Places where amber can be found is a much more promising answer. There's a lot, most of the second paragraph and some of the third paragraph as well. So that's maybe promising. Types of trees that produced amber is just this. It's not mentioned anywhere else in the text. You shouldn't put that down as an answer. Various characteristics of amber is such a vague topic that you could argue all of it. is various characteristics of amber. Everything highlighted in green is basically talking about a characteristic of amber. So when you're answering these questions, you should be looking for general, vague kind of statements rather than things which are too specific, because the specific things will only be mentioned in one or two parts. Okay. So basically you end up with, yes, they mention the difference between amber and fossils. Yes, quite a lot about where amber can be found. Yeah, they mention trees that produced amber, but they just go on and on about various characteristics of amber.
Okay, good job.
Phew. And that's all my tips for today. Questions,
Oh,
anybody?
that was quick, Mr. Darren, and very informative. Can we go back a bit on the type of test? I will just recap a bit.
Yep, absolutely. Do you want, which slide? The questions,
the type
yeah?
of...
Hold on.
Nah, kalau kalian seandainya ada pertanyaan nih sampai di sini, boleh banget ketik di kolom komentar, karena kita nggak kerasa banget udah sampai di penghujung acara. Mr. Darren-nya juga udah ngasih beberapa contoh tadi, dan kalian masih bisa banget untuk baca-baca lagi nih setelah ini, karena kita akan kirimkan materi hari ini langsung ke emailnya kalian sekaligus dengan e-certificate. Jadi pastiin untuk tetap stay di akhir acara, dan juga masukkan nanti formnya, nama kalian di form yang dikirimkan oleh rekannya Miss Vicky di kolom chat box. Oke, nah teman-teman, Miss Vicky mau nge-recap sedikit nih di sini. Jadi tadi Mr. Darren selain sudah memberikan kita tips bagaimana caranya untuk mengerjakan soal reading, yaitu yang pertama adalah apa coba? Skimming dulu. Jadi skimming dulu bacaannya kayak gimana, lalu kalian baca aja hanya kalimat pertamanya aja di setiap paragraf, dan juga membuat kesimpulan nih, atau membuat nutshell kira-kira paragraf itu tuh soal apa. Kayak tadi, what is amber, kemudian where amber can be found, sama bagaimana amber itu terbentuk. Jadi 3 paragraf itu membahas soal itu. Ketika kalian sudah punya ide itu di otak kalian tentang bacaan yang ada di depan mata kalian itu, maka baru kalian mulai masuk ke soal-soalnya. Dan setelah kalian masuk ke soal-soalnya, ketika soal itu membahas tentang sesuatu, kalian bisa langsung ngeh, oh ini soal bagaimana amber terbentuk, berarti aku langsung loncat aja ke paragraf 2. Jadi disitulah kalian akan menghemat banget waktu kalian ketika mengerjakan. Dan untuk pedoman kalian latihan-latihan nih, Mr. Darren juga udah ngasih ada 6 reading questions yang biasanya muncul di soal-soal ITP. Jadi kalau seandainya kalian udah memahami banget atau udah sering latihan soal-soal bentuk yang ada di layar sekarang ini, itu kalian akan lebih mudah lagi atau lebih menghemat waktu kalian ketika mengerjakan reading question. Yang pertama dan yang kedua adalah tentang factual details. Jadi kalian, skill yang pertama harus kalian punya adalah paraphrasing. Jadi berusaha mencari fakta-fakta yang ada di soal dan ada di pertanyaan, dan kalian mencocokkan, tapi biasanya kalimatnya itu beda. Jadi kalian harus belajar gimana caranya untuk sinonim, lalu vocabularies kalian harus banyak, dan lain-lain. Karena tadi kita udah belajar. Dan yang kedua, yang ketiga dan yang keempat ada vocabulary sama reference, di mana untuk vocabulary, ketika kalian punya banyak vocabulary, kalian juga bisa tahu artinya itu apa. Katanya Mr. Darren tadi, biasanya yang ditanyakan atau kata-kata yang ditanyakan itu agak aneh. Ingenuity atau kayak gimana. Kalian bisa banget melihat dari konteksnya. Jadi membaca kalimat yang ada kata tersebut, atau juga kalimat sebelumnya atau sesudahnya untuk memahami kira-kira itu artinya apa, kalau emang kalian nggak pernah dengar kata itu sebelumnya. Untuk yang reference juga sama kayak gitu, tapi reference biasanya itu kayak yang tadi them, itu yang dimaksud apa, itu yang dimaksud siapa, atau he atau she, atau hal-hal yang kayak gitu yang harus kalian juga mulai memahami, terutama untuk melihat kira-kira ada nggak ya kalimat keterangannya di sini yang berusaha untuk mengalihkan perhatian, kayak gitu. Dan itu kalian harus sering-sering latihan juga untuk memahami structure supaya bisa tahu apa yang dimaksud ketika dia menggunakan kata ganti kalimat ketiga ini tadi. Dan yang terakhir ada purpose sama main idea. Dan purpose ini ketika ditanyain apa tujuan dari seseorang ini membuat kalimat itu, kalian bisa tahu ketika menemukan kata-kata kuncinya. Kayak yang tadi bisa kontras karena dia membilang unlike, tidak seperti A tapi B itu kayak gini. Jadi itulah kalian bisa tahu bahwa fungsinya adalah untuk mencari purpose dari kalimat tersebut. Dan yang terakhir main idea, ketika kalian ditanya main idenya apa dari bacaan tersebut, maka yang perlu kalian lakukan adalah mencari yang paling general. Karena kalau seandainya terlalu spesifik, seperti yang tadi Mr. Darren udah tunjukin pakai warna-warna tuh, Kalau misalnya terlalu spesifik tuh biasanya cuma dibahas di salah satu paragraf aja, atau cuma sedikit seucit doang. Nah, ketika kalian pilih itu, maka tidak membahas tentang generally main idea. Jadi biasanya dia itu kalimatnya agak-agak rancu atau fake, tapi sebenarnya general dan membahas keseluruhan. Tapi biasanya nggak ada di dalam passage-nya itu sendiri. Oke, everyone? Mungkin udah paham. Dan kalau saya memang teman-teman di sini masih ada yang sedikit, Miss Vicky tadi kecepatan banget, aku masih belum paham. It's okay, karena nanti kita pasti ada lagi nih reading section, jadi jangan lupa subscribe ke IF Surabaya supaya kalian bisa mengulang-ulang lagi atau mengulang lagi juga di YouTube kita karena penjelasannya Miss Darren tadi, dan kalian juga akan kita kirimi untuk materi yang dijelaskan sama Miss Darren hari ini, Mr. Darren hari ini. Jadi kalian bisa baca-baca lagi dan belajar-belajar lagi. Oke, semuanya kita lagi ada promo nih. Nah, ini yang kalian suka nih. Miss Vicky, aku tuh udah penasaran banget pengen nyobain kursus di IF karena kayaknya kalau di rumah aku nggak bisa sendirian gitu untuk belajar. Pengen ngobrol-ngobrol sama native teacher kayak Mr. Darren atau guru-guru lainnya yang udah jago banget bahasa Inggrisnya. Nah, mungkin ini sekarang promonya sedikit dulu untuk adik-adik kalian, atau mungkin kalian kalau seandainya masih 17 tahun ke bawah, itu bisa banget untuk ikut Holiday Academy di IF manapun ya. Jadi Holiday Academy ini cuma muncul 1 tahun sekali aja, teman-teman. Kalau saya dari dulu kalian ngerasa kayak aku pengen dicobain IF, tapi kayak cuman mau yang singkat aja, soalnya aku ditawarinnya ternyata yang kayak panjang periodenya. Kalian bisa banget untuk cobain dulu di Holiday Academy-nya IF, yaitu adalah program 2 minggu untuk mengisi liburan sekolah. Jadi hanya ada di bulan Mei, Juni, dan Juli aja nih. Dan ada diskon sampai dengan 1 juta rupiah, dan harganya juga cuma sekitar 1 jutaan aja untuk full 2 minggu program intensif, dan itu bisa banget kalian tanya-tanya dengan nanti setelah kalian mendapatkan link atau mengisi sertifikat, nanti akan ada pertanyaan apakah kalian mau mendapatkan promo dari IF, kalian jawab iya. Jadi nanti kita akan bantu schedulekan untuk dapat ditawari promo-promo Holiday Academy, atau kalian di sini hanya mau untuk konsultasi bahasa Inggris aja dengan teacher-teacher seperti Mr. Darren, bisa juga menjawab ya untuk nanti kita bantu schedulekan sama teman-teman yang ada di IF teacher yang ada di sini. Dan kemudian untuk selanjutnya ada juga tips tingkatkan skor TOEFL untuk yang listening section nih sama Mr. Darren lagi. Nah, kalau kalian ngerasa bahwa kalian juga mau dong untuk section yang lainnya, nggak cuma reading aja, ya itu kita bisa coba juga untuk daftar early bird nih. Seminar selanjutnya di listening section sama Mr. Darren juga, yang linknya juga akan ada di kolom chat box. Jadi kita akan ketemu lagi di 2 minggu ke depan, di Sabtu 8 Juli jam 10 pagi juga untuk belajar bareng sama Mr. Darren. Oke, everyone. Nah, ini dia untuk link klaim sertifikatnya yang udah kalian tunggu-tunggu. Jadi ini adalah link ajaib, di mana ketika kalian isi, kalian udah bisa langsung dapat sertifikat, langsung dapat materi yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren saat ini, hari ini juga, dan juga bisa dapat penawaran atau promo yang sekarang sedang berlaku di IF. Jadi kalian bisa coba scan, atau klik linknya aja, kalau misalnya kalian nggak bisa scan di kolom chat box, untuk langsung masuk ke link pendaftaran. Okay, Mr. Darren, it was a really good tips. Thank you so much. We spent more than 1 hour, but I think people think that we need more time.
Have to do 2 hours next time. Thank you, everybody. I just want to answer one question that I saw come up right at the end, if I can find it again. Zalwa Apriliana said, why do you think test takers often finish the reading section way earlier than the given time but ended up getting the lowest score? It could be different reasons, but I suspect it's usually because they're not looking for paraphrasing properly. They're seeing an answer in the reading, which is one of the answers given, and not really eliminating all the other answers. So they're going for the first answer that looks correct. So yeah, you finish very quickly, but you've got lots of wrong answers.
Ya, itu tadilah makanya mungkin kalau seandainya yang cepat banget ngerjain reading section-nya, udah gitu salah semua, itu biasanya karena mereka lihat, oh soalnya ada kata-kata A, terus cari di bacaannya, oh ini kata-kata A itu langsung dijawab di jawabannya yang ada kata-kata A-nya. Biasanya padahal itu yang menjebak, jadinya kalian cepat ngerjainnya tapi salah. Nah, makanya tadi Mr. Darren udah ngasih tips-tips yang oke untuk kalian. Thank you Mr. Darren. Jadi kalau seandainya teman-teman masih ada pertanyaan lagi, no worries. Jangan lupa untuk follow TikTok kita, juga follow Instagram kita di IF Surabaya. Bisa banget untuk ketik aja di situ, leave komen kalian mau dibahas soal bahasa Inggris apa. Dan nanti juga di survei kalian juga bisa ngisi kira-kira kalian mau materi bahasa Inggris apa lagi nih, mau structure atau mau tentang grammar dan lain-lain, karena kita akan bahas di IF Talk selanjutnya. Thank you so much Mr. Darren from Malang. That we happy today to have you here. Very happy to see you. And
Thank you for
now
coming,
we
everybody.
wish everybody also seems to be happy too. And we probably gonna see you again in the next 2 weeks. And everyone tuh jangan lupa ketemu lagi di 2 minggu ke depan. Terima kasih udah datang di IF Talks and see you next time. Apapun cita-citanya, belajar bahasa Inggrisnya di IF.
All right, bye guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye guys. Thank you.